Hi, my name is Julia Moore, and I'm the Senior Director at the Center for Implementation. COVID-19 has affected all of us. We are at an unprecedented moment in time. If you think about it, it's almost as if every single person on the planet has been asked to change the way that we interact with other people and even the way we interact with ourselves. Right? We're supposed to wash our hands, not touch our faces, and stay away from other people. These are really, really big, hard changes to make. And asking people to change their behavior is really hard. But we need to collectively do all of these things to save lives. And in fact, keeping away from other people, physical distancing, is one of the hardest of all of those changes. We can see right now, governments putting in policies to try to get people to actually follow the rules and do physical distancing. But policies alone are not enough because it is so hard to get people to change their behaviors. And we see this if we look at the number of COVID cases day after day increasing over time. And so what can we do? Luckily, there's actually a science of how we can change people's behavior like this. And it's called implementation science. And we can use this science to guide how we support people around the world to change their behavior and practice physical distancing. So at its simplest form, implementation science has 3 steps. First, we need to describe what it is people actually need to do differently. So we need to provide really clear guidance on what physical distancing actually means, because that's not clear to everyone, right? Are you allowed to go outside? Can you walk as long as you stay far away from someone? What's that, can you sit on your front lawn and talk to people? What does it really mean to be physically distancing? But telling people what that means is not enough, because change is hard. And we need to understand why people are making changes or aren't making changes. The reasons underlying why people would practice physical distancing or why they aren't. We call these barriers and facilitators. And essentially, if you don't know what the barriers and facilitators are, there's a really good chance that you're going to revert to telling people facts and giving them numbers. That's what we like to do. But if we understand people's barriers and facilitators, that's step 2, then we set ourselves up even better for step 3, which is where we select the strategies and the key messages to support people to change. And those should ideally directly address the barriers or reasons people aren't changing. So if we take this kind of 3-step process and think about what is happening right now, how are we actually reacting and responding to COVID? We can look at things that we're doing well, not so well, or maybe that we could ramp up and do even more. We're going to share 3 different things that we have seen happening and how they relate back to different barriers and facilitators. So the first thing is that there's actually some really good stuff happening. There are influencers out there in social media who are trying to normalize this behavior. That might not seem that important, but in fact, it's really, really important for people to know that it is totally normal right now to be practicing physical distancing. That's because people want to do what other people are doing. It's called social norms. That's the barrier that it's tapping into. And so when people believe that everyone else is doing this, it makes it so much easier for us to do that as well. So for all those people normalizing physical distancing, that is awesome, and keep doing it. But there are things that are happening that aren't so good. We also see a lot of examples of public shaming of people who are not practicing social distancing. When we shame other people, we often think that it's a good thing. We maybe even feel better about ourselves because we think we're helping. But in fact, shaming people is really demotivating. It doesn't make them want to change. And even if they do change, it's often very short-lived, which is not what we need right now. So we need to step away from public shaming. But what can we do instead? One of the big things we don't see that much of going on right now that could be so helpful is positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement really helps us do something more and more and more. We see this all the time when you think about kids, right? When they do something good that you want them to do, you say, "Great job, do it again." But we aren't really seeing that Even though millions and millions of people are practicing physical distancing right now, even though it's hard, even though they're struggling, they're doing it. And so let's positively reinforce the changes that have already been made. And that will inspire them to keep going and help other people want to get on board as well. So let's really focus on normalizing the behavior, doing a lot less public shaming, and more positive reinforcement. And so here at the Center for Implementation, we support people and organizations to change. In an effort to help people change behavior related to physical distancing, we want to better understand people's barriers or reasons for changing or not changing. And we have opened up a questionnaire, a really short questionnaire, where we want to hear lots of different perspectives on why you think that people are practicing or not practicing physical distancing. And so we would be so grateful if you could first complete this questionnaire, answer the questions, and share your perspective and insight. Second, we would love it if you would share with your networks, friends, family, colleagues, coworkers, especially if they see the world a little bit differently than you, because we want lots and lots of different perspectives. And then we're going to use all of this information to create guidance and insights into what the science tells us we can be doing better to address these different barriers. If you want to hear about our updates, you can subscribe on our website or follow us on Twitter. We want to thank you so much for your time and your help. We wish you to be safe and healthy at this very challenging time. Thank you.